just this way of showing Heavenly Father that we're grateful for the things that we have.
You know, we've been given everything that we have in life, and we can give part of what we've been given to others that need it sometimes more than us.
When we moved to Australia, we were pretty poor, and my dad showed me his first paycheck, and he told me, like, we don't have enough, but I'm still gonna pay my tithing. And from that day, I've always said I'm always gonna pay a full tithe. I think to me it just means you're putting your trust in God.
And so we're going to be talking about tithing today. Our area plan prompts us to be faithful when paying our tithes and offerings. What impact do you think that would have on our Pacific area saints?
I think the most important thing that it will do is it will help them have a more closeness to God. Yeah. You know, by placing their faith and their trust in Him, relying on Him for those blessings that come from paying tithing. I think it will definitely pull them. It'll increase their faith, like President Nelson said, and it will help them draw closer to God.
It's like more of a reminder, you know, because we already know that we need to pay tithing, but it's always good to have those reminders so that we can do better. And we know that we can be 100% at paying our tithing. So,
if nothing else, this is one thing we can be 100% on.
Yeah.
And it's a benchmark for every other gospel principle or commandment that we live. You know, like tithing is 10%. It's not 8.5%. And so if we benchmark that and everything else that we do, it's like, right, word of wisdom, I want to live that fully, you know, or going to the temple, I want to live that fully like I live tithing. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's an awesome prompt from our area presidency. When we pay tithing, we show Heavenly Father insert.
I think for me, it shows that we are putting Him first.
Yeah.
You know, sacrifice brings blessings. So.
When we pay tithing, we give insert to those who need it most.
We give support to those, whether it be through services or financial or food or...
Although we say we're giving support to others by giving, what are some of the blessings that we then receive from giving?
Yeah, that's a good question. In my life, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I have been like really dire, like not had food in my house or cupboard or anything like that, or not had a job, which has been a huge blessing for me. I've never been without because of paying tithing.
I was a poor uni student for like 4 years, and I feel like even if I didn't have the money in my bank account to take care of myself, there was always someone that was like, hey, Elise, want to come over for dinner? And I'm like, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Go.
You keep those friends around.
Not too sure when I'm going to be eating next, and I know that that's a blessing from paying tithing. Yeah.
It's like, I guess, a blessing in general of being obedient, but specifically the tithing, it's like everything that we would have used money on, like essential things that we need in life to survive, those things are taken care of, you know, when we put tithing first. Yeah. And there's so many cool stories that, you know, you hear in church and around this discussion, and it's so true because that's how it works.
Tithing is hard to pay because...
You think you need it.
Yeah, okay, yes.
You think you need it, right? You sort of look at the bank account, man, I really like that extra 10% of my bank.
What about you, Shay? You live in Auckland, you're newlywed.
Yeah, how hard is it?
Is it hard to pay?
When you're obedient to that commandment, it's a lot easier to take care of essential things. Yeah. You know, because it's hard because you need money to pay for bills and petrol, things that you need to get around and live your day-to-day life. And so
I think that's probably the most challenging time for people to pay tithing, right? Is when they're in a situation where it's like, I've got $500 and I need $600 to live, and I'm still paying my tithing on it, and that's a real test of people's faith, you know?
That's such a real answer, because that's why, like, when I go to pay tithing, I do it before I start planning my expenses, you know, because then there's no temptation, just like pay it as soon as you can.
Okay, I was totally not always that person. Tithing was like
the last,
down the bottom, and it was always so hard to part with that last 10%. You know, like, someone wants to, everyone wants to do things, and I'm like, yo, I've got this money,
at all costs.
Or, you know, that's right. Like, one thing that I can appreciate though is that understanding where our tithing goes. Go to lds.org and you'll be able to find out there the official things that tithing pays for.
I saw some real benefits of people paying tithing, particularly like a fast offering. You know, serving as a bishop, you have a lot of families that can't afford food and you know, they can't afford clothing or shoes for their kids, and that is a huge blessing for our people. And if people don't see where that money goes to helping those people and change their lives, it's a huge help for people.
I was in Christchurch during the earthquakes, and seeing the resources come in to help us, man, there is a blessing in being self-reliant, but also paying our tithing so that later on we can be blessed, not only like spiritually but physically as well. Such a blessing.
I mean, we live in the Pacific, right? And we have a lot of island nations. I mean, you come from Samoa, and those nations regularly get attacked by storms and things like that. We've seen the cyclones that have hit Tonga, and the help that goes out to those people. I mean, that's a huge blessing to our people, the people of the Pacific, and all around the world. So, that money goes to some really great causes.
How do you feel when you don't pay it?
Like with anything, like if you know you should be doing something and you're not, then there's that feeling of, that burden, and you want to fix it again.
But in the past I have, and I don't think I understood the huge magnitude of it until later when I was paying again regularly, and then I was able to feel the blessings again. What if you can't afford it?
Like, that's a real test of faith. We know the blessings that come from the scriptures when you pay it. My counsel would be to do everything you can to pay it. Try your best. Do your best to pay it.
And when should you start paying tithing?
I think as soon as possible. That's how I was raised. Like, that's what I learned as a child. And it was actually kind of fun figuring out 10% of whatever I had. And so once you get into the habit of that at like a younger age, it's a lot easier to keep as a habit, when you get older.
Y'all were getting money at a younger age?
One of the coolest things that I experienced as a bishop was receiving tithing from little children.
Oh, is it the cutest?
It is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It really is the coolest thing. And that just learning that simple principle right from an early age. I'm blessed in my life to have learned it from an early age.
If we aren't already paying tithing, how can we better make it a priority? I know we've talked about making it, sometimes the act of faith is easier said than done. So how can we move through that? So here's the quote: to develop enduring faith, an enduring commitment to be a full tithe payer is essential. So how can we move into being a full tithe payer?
The best thing to do is to start. And if you start by paying tithing and you start to have those faith-promoting experiences, it will build upon that. And, that quote was from President Russell M. Nelson. It's not just a one-off. It's a commitment to continue to pay the tithing. And as you continue to pay it, you continue to have those spiritual blessings, or those blessings come into your life, which help strengthen you. You get to a point where you can't afford not to pay it, right? Because it's like, I don't want to miss out on those things that are coming into my life because I pay it.
So. Guys, thank you so much for joining in with us. Thank you to our live audience. Yay! And subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a cheeky like and share with all your friends.